Hello, hi everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
sir.
sir.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so let me go ahead and start the session today. So let me share my screen. So today we are going to cover new topic. Let me know if you can see my screen now. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we'll start with the topic of master data. The second topic of the module. So what is this master data and what does this master data do in SAP system? So before we speak about what is master data, let me tell you one thing. So in SAP, there are two types of data. So one is the master data and one is the transaction data. So what is this master data and transaction data? So master data is nothing but the data which is used to create the transaction data. For example, if you want to purchase something in Amazon, you go into Amazon, you log into Amazon and see all the products. So the products, what you see there are your master data. The products with the details, for example, technical information, the price, when it is going to deliver, all those things are your master data. And the transaction data is nothing but the order what you're going to place. That data is called as a transaction data. The name itself tells it is going to do some transaction. So whenever you purchase something, you need to pay. Whenever you're selling something, you will get paid. So that type of data, whenever you're purchasing or whenever you're selling, so what all activities you do, that type of data is called as the transaction data. To do transaction data, the master data is going to help you. So if you want to buy something, you need a material, you need some person. So all those things are your master data. If I take an example of Amazon as I mentioned, you open one product. So you see the product code. Each and every product will have a product code and it will have the name of the product and it will have a specification. Specification is nothing but, for example, the dimensions, the weight, the technical information, all these things are the specification. So when you see all this information, so this is called as the master data. Okay. Now, if you want to buy this product, so you add this product to the cart, you add the quantity, then you see when it is going to get delivered, and from where it is getting delivered and who is delivering you. Seeing all that information, you will place the order. Okay. As soon as you place the order will go to Amazon. When the order is going to Amazon, the order is getting transferred from your account to the Amazon account. So that is a transaction. Okay. And whenever the dealer or the Amazon is ready to deliver, he will send you the product and the product is getting transferred from his account to your account. So this is called as a transaction data. So if anyone asks what are the two types of data we have in SAP, we have master data and we have the transaction data. So what all products we see, from whom do you buy, All those things are your master data. And whenever we do some transaction between system to system or person to person, that is called as a transaction data. So regarding this transaction data, we will speak some bit later. So today's topic is going to be the master data. So in master data, there are multiple types of master data in SAP. So first one is the material master. This is going to be the main topic today. So material master. So what is material master? So material master is nothing but a collection of materials. For example, one business, if you take any business, any industry, an FMCG industry or construction-based industry, or it might be a pharmaceutical industry, any industry will have a bunch of materials, a group of materials. So all those group of materials, individual item is called as a material, but if you have a group of materials or a lot of materials, those are called as material master. Okay, so material master nothing but a group of materials where business is using all the materials into their business. Then you have the second master data, which is the supplier master. Supplier master. So supplier master is nothing but, as I mentioned, you have a bunch of materials. The bunch of materials are called as material master. In the same way, if you have multiple suppliers, if I say any business, any business is not going to purchase material from a single vendor. They might have a lot of vendors from whom they're going to procure. If you take an example of Amazon, so if you want to purchase anything in Amazon, so Amazon is not going to deliver you. There are a lot of dealers who are linked with Amazon and they deliver you the goods, not Amazon. So a bunch of suppliers, a group of suppliers are considered as the supplier master. The supplier is nothing but a seller. The person who is going to sell the material is called a supplier. Okay. Then we have the third type of master data, which is the source list. Source list is nothing but an approved vendor. For example, if I have material M1, as we discussed in the enterprise structure, we have this reference purchase organization or the purchase organization. They go into the market and search who is the seller of this material, who is selling this material. So they will find vendor V1, vendor V2, and vendor V3. So these are the three vendors who are selling the material in the market. So these three vendors are the source of the material, are sourcing the material. When I say source, you can take it as manufacturing, or they are the producer, or they are the sellers. The meaning of source in SAP is from where it is getting started. Not normally the source meaning is where it is getting started. The same way, in SAP also, the source is nothing but from where the material is getting started, from where the material is getting manufactured or produced. So now these three vendors are producing the material, and I can buy the material from these three vendors. So these three vendors are the source of this material. So I can create in my system saying that my system should understand who is the source. So what I do, I go to the source transaction. I say system that this material is produced by these three vendors. So I'll add a line here saying that M1 material is produced by V1. M2 is produced by V2. Sorry, M1. Again, M1 is produced by V3. So to tell system that which material is produced by which vendor, it can be multiple vendors, it can be a single vendor. So maintain this list is called as a source list. So source list is nothing but maintaining the vendors who are going to produce the materials. And those vendors are going to be the approved vendors. This is very important. Source list is going to be get created based on the approved vendors. Okay. Then we have the fourth type of master data, which is purchase info record. This purchase info record, you need to read it from right to left. So if I read from right to left, the record of information of the purchase, what you do. This purchase info record is going to store the information of the previous purchase, what you have done. For example, if you are purchasing this material from this vendor, system will store this information and say, when you are purchasing this next time, so system will say that you have purchased this material from this vendor previously. Storing the past purchase information is helped or maintained in the transaction of purchase info record. Purchase info record is nothing but it is storing the information of the past purchase. Okay. Then you have the service master. Wherever you see master, then that is a bunch of information. Service master is also a bunch of services. Whenever you're doing a business or whenever you're running a business, you only can't buy the materials. Sometimes you should also buy the services. For example, if you're running an office, you need to clean the office once every month or every week. So you can't clean that office. So you have a manpower who is going to clean that. If you have manpower, that is fine. If you don't have manpower, then you need to call someone to clean the office. Or every year you want to paint your office. So you book a service. So service person will come and he is going to paint your office. If you have any AC, so AC repair is also a service. If you have machinery, so machinery should get serviced every 1 month or every 2 months. So these all are the service activities. So bunch of service activities are called as service master. Okay. Then finally we have the quota management. Quota management is nothing but dividing the purchase into different vendors. So if you want 100 pieces of material M1, if you need 100 pieces of this, then you're not going to buy from a single vendor. You are going to divide the quantity into 3 parts and place an order for these 3 vendors. That is a quota management. But most of the business is stopped using the quota management because they are not comfortable using this functionality. So usually they have not considered this as a master data. So when we say master data, these are the 5 main things which we should remember, which is the material master, supplier master, source list, purchase info record, and the service master. Okay. So for these all master data, we have individual session planned. So today and tomorrow we will cover the master data. Next week we will cover the supplier master. Post that week we will cover the source list and the purchase info record. Then we have the service master. This we will cover after the P2P cycle. Okay, so today's main topic is going to be the material master. Let's discuss on the material master. Before that, if you have any questions in this master data, you can ask. Then again, I'll move to the material master.
Venkatesh, I have a doubt. In these 5 concepts, I missed this vendor master. Whether vendor master and supplier master both are same or different?
Both are same. So vendor, supplier, both are same.
Okay.
Sir, master data is this editable or fixed one, sir?
It is editable.
Suppose if I want to change some other supplier means I will go and edit for the master data and to refresh it, right, sir?
As soon as you change, it is automatically getting refreshed.
Okay, sir.
A quota arrangement, if I take an example, assume that, yeah, assume that government is going to release an vacancies for some post, and they have some 100 vacancies or 100 posts. So what they do, they divide the 100 posts into different categories. So 50% or 60% is going to be general quota. Then you have SAST quota. So they are dividing the vacancies into different quotas. So in the same way, whenever you're purchasing something from vendor, or if you have any requirement of the material, for example, you need to buy some material, you need 100 pieces. So whenever you want 100 pieces, you will see which vendor is supplying that material. And if you find the vendor, you are going to ask, what is the material, what is the quantity you have ready at now to deliver? So one vendor will tell he has 30 pieces, the other vendor will tell he has 50 pieces, and other vendor will sell, he'll tell that he has 30 pieces. So materials are ready at the vendor place, but not all the quantity is not ready at the same vendor. So what you will be doing? You will be dividing the requirement into three different sections, and you place an order for all three vendors, 50, 30, and 20. Receiving the multiple orders from vendors and fulfilling your requirement. So this is going to help business not to wait. So whenever you order something anywhere, so you need to wait for some days to get that delivered. But whenever the stock is readily available with the vendor, he will directly deliver you. So you don't want to wait. So to manage the time consumption, or to manage the lead time, we have this quota management which is going to help.
Hello, good morning, Venkatesh.
Yes.
In quota management, there may be issues of quality, right? If we have purchased from each, and that's the reason it has been not used extensively, right?
Yes, there are a lot of reasons why they are not using quota management now. So there might also be a quality issue, the pricing issue. So one vendor is going to provide with different price, higher price, or some vendor is going to provide in lower price. So that might also be an issue. So there are a lot of issues. That is the reason the quota management has been stopped.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Sir, what's the difference between like supplier master and vendor, sir?
Both are same.
Both are same, sir.
Yes.
Sir, like vendor means like customer, sir, like we will supply material.
No, vendor is not a customer.
Yes.
Customer is different. So I'm telling supplier is a person who is going to supply you the goods.
Okay, sir.
Customer is a person to whom you are going to deliver the goods.
Okay, sir.
Okay. If no questions, then I'll move forward and start the material master, which is the important topic today. So today's topic is going to be the material master. So when I speak regarding the material master, we have different types of material master available in standard SAP, which means each material master is first initiated with the what are the material are we going to purchase and how are we going to categorize that material. So what we do, for example, take an example that you have a lot of materials in the business. You have 1,000 or 10,000 materials, that is based on the business size. And each and every material is going to be different type of material. For example, if I take an FMCG industry, you have the raw food, you have the cooked food, you have half cooked food. So you have different types of materials. So dividing those materials or categorizing those materials are called as material type. So first thing, what you really need to understand in material master is, in material master, you will have bunch of materials. This bunch of materials can be 1,000 to 10,000. That may vary from business to business, the size of the business. If you're creating all these 10,000 materials, you need to segregate the material. You need to tell what is the raw material. You need to tell what is the finished material. If I take automobile industry, so all the metal scrap are going to be your raw material. And when you take that metal and start converting that into any of the part, for example, I take that raw material, I convert that into a brake lever or a clutch plate. So that is going to become my semi-finished material. And when I use that material and when I assemble that, that will become a finished material. So how are we going to categorize that materials into raw material, finished material, and semi-finished material? Okay, so categorizing the material is a part of material type. Okay, one second. Yeah. So first thing, we are going to categorize the material, and categorizing the material is called as a material type. So material master, we are going to categorize into material types. Then we have another category called as material group. So now I mentioned that how are we going to categorize the material and why we have this material type. So let me take another example. So for example, you go to market. If you go to market, you will be able to see a lot of items. You will see fruits, you will see vegetables, you will see some different types of things there. All those are considered as a different type of material. So fruits can be one of the material type, vegetable can be one of the material type, and some other category you can take it as other material type. Now, this material type, under this material type, you have this material group. So this material type has a subcategory, which is a material group. So if I take a fruits for an example, in this fruits, you have different types of fruits again. So fruits will be your material type. And again, dividing the fruits into different categories. For example, you have orange, citrus, you have apples. So those all are going to be your material groups. So first is a categorizing the material into material types. And again, subcategorizing your material type into different categories is called as material group. So there are multiple standard material types and even the custom things. So normally in SAP, our system has already given some type of material types, which are standard. Apart from that, if you want anything to be created, you can create manually. For example, SAP system has tried to cover a lot of material types which are suitable for all the industries. For example, you have raw material. Raw material is almost used by all the business. So you have raw material in construction based industry, you have it in FMCG, you have it in automobile industry. So system has already created some material types for you and it has given. Now, if business is still not satisfied, if they have still more material types to be created, then we need to create the material type. So creating the material is a part of end user. This is very important. So creating a material is a part of end user. Creating the material type and differentiating the material in the backend is a part of consultant. So consultant is going to create the material types and define what is this material type used and why are we going to use this with different options. So now let us see what are the standard material types which SAP has given. And then we will see why the requirement comes to the consultant. So different types of material types are the raw material. First thing is raw material. Okay. Then we have this semi-finished material. I'll explain one by one. Okay, and let me add here something. For these material types, we also have a code. So if you guys have completed the enterprise structure, so your enterprise structure is going to have different codes. So for company code, you have one code. For plant, you have one code. For store location, you have one code, and purchase org, you have one code. So system is not going to read the description. System is not going to remember the description. System is going to remember the codes. So codes are very important for SAP system. In the same way, when I say that SAP has given different types of material types in system, they also have the codes. So for raw material, it is called as ROH. So whenever you see ROH, you need to tell that that is an raw material. For semi-finished material, it is HALB. So these codes are very, very important. You should remember. And then you have the finished material that is called as FERT. Okay. Then you have the trading material that is HAWA. Then you have the operating supplies. That is called as HIBE. Then you have the spare parts. That is ERSA. Then you have the services. That is called as SERV. CFGH. Then you have non-validated. And non-validated stock. For this, I think it is UNBW. NLAG. Okay, so these are the different types of materials which SAP has categorized. So whenever you want to create a material or whenever you want to start a material in the business, so that material should be categorized into these categories. So for example, if you take any material, so it should be raw material, it should be semi-finished material, it should be finished material or trading material or anything. But that should always fall under these categories only. If that is not falling under this category, then you need to create a new category. Okay. Now, if I start one by one, we have raw material. Raw material is something which business should procure so that they can start using that raw material and convert them into the semi-finished material or finished material in their manufacturing process. Take an example, construction-based industry. For construction-based industry, the raw material is sand, cement, and small stones. So they use this raw material, they mix all this raw material, and they create or they manufacture the concrete. So concrete is going to be your semi-finished material. So the first thing business is going to do is they are going to purchase the raw material. Using that raw material, they will start their business. I cannot commit that all the business is going to start the business with the raw material. Some might start with semi-finished also. So what is semi-finished? Once the raw material is purchased and raw material goes into different stages. If you take a manufacturing industry, you will have an idea. So they will buy the raw material like metal and they cut those metals into different sizes and keep it aside. So that can also be a semi-finished material. If that is called a semi-finished material, then there is some work done on that material. Those type of materials are called semi-finished material. Then you have the finished material. Finished material is nothing but it is ready to sell. Everything is done and it is ready to sell. Once the raw material is converted to semi-finished material, and taking that semi-finished material, you will assemble everything, and then you have the finished material ready, and that material is ready for selling. Whatever material will give you revenue, whatever material will produce a revenue for your company, that material is called as a finished material. Okay. Then you have the trading material. Trading material is nothing but you are not manufacturing the material. For example, you are a third party supplier. So customer will order something for you, and you will order that to the other vendor, get that material, put your brand label and sell it. For example, Amazon is doing the same thing. That Amazon is a trading supplier. What they do is that they receive the orders. You will place the order to Amazon, but Amazon is not going to deliver you. The dealers are going to deliver you. But whenever you receive the packet from Amazon, whatever it is or whichever dealer it is delivering you, but still you will have the Amazon logo in it. But the manufacturing is different. The seller is different, but you still have the Amazon branding logo. That means they are not directly delivering you. They give the material or they give the order to some other person and tell them to deliver you the goods, but they're asking to put their brand label. That is one option. The other option is, for example, one company is procuring material, one company is buying some material, and they're going to store that material. And whenever they want to sell the material, they take the material and put their branding label in it and sell the material. That means saying customer that is manufactured by this company only, but actually that material is not manufactured at this company. It is manufactured somewhere. So you are trading the material from other supplier to the customer. You are being as a mediator. Those type of material are called as trading materials. Okay. Then you have the operating suppliers. Operating suppliers are nothing but you can take a consumables as an example. Okay. So the materials which are used within the plant or within the company. So you are buying the material not for selling. You are buying the material to use for your own purpose. For example, they can be a pantry items. For example, you are running a company, a service-based company, and you have pantry in your service-based company, and you have a vending machine. I think you know the vending machine. So you need to store a lot of food items there, or you can take an example of coffee vending machine. So when you have a coffee vending machine, you need cups, you need sugar. So those all are purchased by the company, but you are not selling those to the customer. You are keeping them for your own use. So those type of items are called as operating supplies or consumables. Okay, so you cannot differentiate this material without the material types. So if I say that you have a bunch of materials which are 1,000 to 10,000, how are we going to tell system that this is going to be operating suppliers? I don't want to sell this. I want to use this. I am not going to get the revenue from these materials. And how are you going to tell that I'm going to manufacture this material from somewhere and I'm going to get it and I'm going to put my brand label and I'm going to sell it? So how are you going to tell system that? So to help that or to tell system these functionalities, you have this material type. Okay. Then you have the spare parts. You know what are spare parts? Whenever your machine or whenever any item gets damaged or it is in service, you need a spare part. So instead of buying the complete item, you will just buy a spare parts. Spare part is a huge business. It is not a finished material. It is not a semi-finished material. It is not a raw material. Sometimes spare parts are going to be semi-finished material. But the only difference between semi-finished material and spare part, for example, if you take a bike, so you have the brake lever or you have an accelerator wire. So those are your spare parts. Even those are your semi-finished material, because using those, you are going to assemble the finished material. But the only difference is the semi-finished material is not packed. Not packed. But the spare parts are packed. Spare parts are packed and sold. They have an MRP. But semi-finished material are not packed and they don't have the MRP. That is only the difference. Then coming to the services, you know what are services? As I mentioned, you may have the machine service, you may have the printer service, AC service. So take an example of urban clap. So all the activities what you see in urban clap are the services. So all these activities also need to be created as a material here so that you can purchase them. In business, whenever you're running a business, everything needs to be accounted. If you want to do some service, you cannot directly go to Urban Clap and order something. Who is going to reimburse that material? Are you going to pay from your pocket? No, right? So business should pay. Business should pay means, in that case, you need to show that transaction in the system. If you want to show that transaction in system, then you need to have the material created in the system. Okay. Then you have these two, which is non-valuated stock. Non-valuated stock is nothing but, till now, what all materials we have spoke, they can be purchased, they can be sold, they are manufactured, a lot of things. But the non-valuated material is nothing but, you will have the stock. You will have the stock, but you don't have the value for it. For example, free of goods or samples. So vendor is going to send you some samples for testing purpose, or seeing that samples you may place an order to check the quality. You are going to take that samples and keep it in your warehouse. You have the stock in your warehouse, but you don't have the value for that samples because samples are free of cost. Okay, so those type of materials are called as non-valuated stock. Okay, then you have the last category of material, which is non-stock material. Non-stock material are nothing but, you have the value of the material, but you don't have the stock. The best example for non-stock material is the rental. So you have a building, for example, you have given that building for a rent. So without buying or something, without stocking any material, you are going to get the rent. So getting the rent is nothing but getting the money without the stock. So that can be a best example. And this non-stock material are also considered as consumables. Okay, so these are the standard material types which SAP has given. Apart from this, if you have any material type to be created, you can create. So for example, they might ask you to create a new material type for custom duties. You need to create those material types. So as I mentioned initially, creating a material is a job of end user. Creating the backend objects are a part of consultants. So these are the backend objects. Okay. So before I move to the views of SAP's views of material master. Any questions here?
Yeah, Venkatesh, I have a doubt regarding on the trading material and finished material. You take an example of this Amazon, right? I will go with one scenario. If Amazon is maintaining their own warehouse and they're selling the products, whether it is comes under trading material or finished material.
If Amazon is storing the material and selling the material, those are the finished material.
Okay, it's clear. And one more doubt. This is also real time. If any plant is procuring some equipments, like it comes under operating supplies, right? If those equipments are getting any trouble and they are procuring that spare parts, it comes under ERSA or hype.
One second, can you repeat your question?
Uh, for example, if any plant or any oil and gas industries or power plants, they are uh, purchasing some equipments for their use, it comes under operate supplies, right?
If they are going to use it for their own purpose, then it is an operating supplies.
Okay, if those equipments are getting any trouble, they are
Any?
going to if those equipments are getting any trouble, means in future they are going to do any maintenance activities or any troubles, they need to purchase the spare parts to maintain those equipments, right?
Yes, if it is suggestion.
In such case, those spare parts are comes under ERSA or hype.
No. So those spare parts, if you are using it internally,
Yes.
then it comes under operating suppliers. So that depends on the finance object. So how finance need to take? So do finance need to account those into a different GL account or a person's account? For example, assume that you are working in a company
Mm-hmm.
and you are operating a machine
Mm-hmm.
and it is a regular maintenance. If
Mm-hmm.
it is a regular maintenance, and when the regular maintenance happened, we came to know that there is a spare part issue and we need to replace the spare part.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, you will get the material from ERSA. So accounting is going to happen under ERSA. So you will
Okay.
take the spare parts and account at that material type level.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose now take an example. You are working into a submission and it
Mm-hmm.
is your fault. Because of your fault, the mission got mission got stopped working,
Mm-hmm.
and there is some issue, and they need to change some part.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, the spare part is going to get accounted in your account.
Okay.
That is HIBE. If the
Mm-hmm.
accounting is happening at spare part account, then it is ERSA. If the amount is getting debited from your account, so each and every employee will have one account dedicated for company purpose.
Okay.
So if the amount is getting debited from those account, then that is an HIBE.
Okay. 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 And one more question is related with services. If we are doing the services, it comes under SCRV. On the time of doing services, any replacements of the spare parts is required. On such scenario, it comes under service or ERSA.
Then it is a different concept. You have the plant maintenance module. So what plant maintenance module does is they create a maintenance order. So
Okay.
under maintenance order, you can have multiple lines. In the first line, you can mention service.
Mm-hmm.
So service is going to happen for this price. And when service is going to happen, if they found that they need a spare part, they will directly add the second line that the spare part is required. So
Mm-hmm.
spare parts is getting consumed from there. So maintenance order is going to help to use both service and the spare parts. So both are used there.
Mm-hmm. Coming to our scenario, is it applicable while doing the services in this MM part? while doing the services, but for example, any printer going to do the service, on that time they find out some spare part is required to change or cat is required to change. On that time, what category it will come?
Sorry, you to repeat the question again.
Sorry, if we are doing any services like any printer services we are doing, on that time they find out they need to change a cartridge or need to change some spare part is required. On such case, as per our point of view, how it will be proceed? For example, spare part is comes under ERSA or service or
As I mentioned earlier, so spare parts will come under ERSA and service will come under CRB. When you're combining these both, for sure you need a maintenance order to be created.
okay, it comes under plant maintenance.
Yes.
Okay, clear. That's it from my side.
Yeah.
So if you take an example of car manufacturing industry, like the spare parts, they'll get it from other vendor, and then finally they set up the car and then sell it to the customer. So how will we categorize that?
So buying a spare part from different vendor is going to be a spare part only. So we are going to categorize that into ERSA. So what I'll do is I'll create a materials under ERSA and I will procure the spare parts from other vendor and get it this assembled here. Or if I don't want to buy it as spare part, I don't want the material to be packed. So when I buy the spare part, I will get a spare part which is packed and has an MRP. So if you want the supplier to use his own material and create a spare part and pack it for me, then it is going to fall under the spare part category. If you are going to send the raw material to him, we also have authorization to send the raw material to supplier in some cases. So using the raw material which is sent by us, and he is going to manufacture the spare parts using that raw material, then in that case, we will consider that product as a semi-finished material. The scenario, what we do.
Okay.
Okay. If no questions, then I'll move forward. So now we said that we have different types of materials, right? And now we understood that how are we going to categorize the material in business. Now each and every categories. Now I said that we have raw material, we have semi-finished material, we have trading materials. Then in this case, we need to also decide which material are we going to store in the warehouse, which material are we going to purchase, which material are we going to sell, which material we are not doing any of the activities. So all these need to be decided in the system. So business will tell that I don't want to purchase this finished material. I want to purchase only different types of material, but I should manufacture the material and sell the finished material. In that case, this is going to get decided based on the views you have in SAP, in the material type. So that can be maintained. So let me explain what are the material views we have in SAP. That is very, very important. Give me a second before that. Okay, so let me list down the views we have in SAP, and then I'll tell what are the important views for procurement. So first view is the basic data. So we have 14 or 16 views in Material Master, but all are not important. Only some are important for procurement. So first thing is the basic data. So we have two basic data, basic data 1 and basic data 2. So this basic data is going to store the basic information, like what is the description, what is the material group, what is the gross weight, what is the net weight, what is the dimensions. So all these are the basic information. So it is going to just store the basic information. In the basic data 2, it is going to store the technical information and the drawings of the material if there are any. Then you have the sales view. So sales view is sales data 1, sales data 2, sales general data. So if you are going to sell the material, for example, finished material is sellable. You are going to sell the finished material. You are going to sell the spare parts. You are going to sell the training materials. If you have a plan of selling the material, then the material should also be created under the view of sales. But this is not handled by MM. This is handled by ST, sales and distribution. This is handled by MM. Okay. Then we have of the sales, we have international trade, import, international trade, export. So these views will come into picture when you're importing and exporting internationally. If you're doing business with these materials internationally, then these views will come into picture. Then you have the purchasing view. Then you have purchase order text. These both are mainly handled by MM because here we are going to maintain the purchasing information and purchase order text. Then we have the costing 1 and costing 2. Then we have the accounting 1 and accounting 2. So these all are handled by FICO. This is handled by FI, this is handled by CU. So we have FICO, finance and controlling. So FI is finance and CU is controlling. So accounting views are handled by finance and costing are handled by costing team or controlling team. Okay. Then we have packaging information. I think we have two packaging information, packaging 1 and packaging 2. Then we have sales order text. So this is handled by EWM or WM. This is handled by ST. So these are the views in SAP. So we have 16 views. In these 16 views, we have some 3,000 fields. In these 16 views, we have some 3,000 fields, but all 3,000 fields are not important. For procurement, only procurement is going to handle only some fields. So if we understand that fields, that is sufficient. Now, if I see in today's class, we will just see what are the important fields as per the basic material. And going forward, based on the topic we discussed, we will explore more fields. Okay, now these views are common for all the materials. But now it is a consultant job to decide which material type is going to have which view. For example, you have raw material. You will purchase the raw material. So you need to have the purchasing view. For sure, you will not sell the raw material. So you can skip these 3 views. You can skip these 4 views. Okay, in this way, First, you need to discuss with business which material you are going to buy, which material you are going to sell. Based on that information, you are going to decide what views to maintain. So now we discuss some 8 to 9 material types in the list. And now we need to discuss what are the views we are going to have for this material type. So if I have a table, if I draw a table for this, so let me take just important views. So basic data, then you have the purchasing, plant or storage, MRP, accounting, and sales. Okay, so let me take one by one. First is ROH. Now I'll use only the quotes. I'll not use the descriptions. So I have ROH, HALB, FERT, HAWA, HIBE, ERSA, SCRV, UNBW, and NLAC. So first thing is a raw material. So raw material will have the basic data for sure. I will not have the sales data. I'll purchase the raw material. I'll store the material. I will do the planning. I'll maintain the pricing. Semi-finished material. I will have the basic data. Sometimes I might purchase or sometimes I don't purchase. So that depends. So yes or no for this. That depends on the business decision. I'm going to store, I'm going to do the planning, and I'm going to do the accounting view. Finished material. Finished material for sure I'll have basic data. I'm going to have the sales view because I'm going to sell the material. Okay. And I'll not plan the material. Sometimes I might purchase, or normally I don't prefer to buy. If business does not prefer to buy the finished material and they are only into manufacturing the finished material, then we can avoid this. Okay, so I'll store this material and I'll maintain the pricing for this. So like this, for each and every material type, we will have the different views and different decisions. Okay, so let me complete for others also. So you have this trading material. Trading material you will sell. You will have the basic information. You will purchase, you'll store, you'll plan, and you have the accounting view. You have everything. Now the operating suppliers, HIBE. You will have the basic material. You will purchase. You will not store this because you are consuming it directly. Planning is going to happen, accounting view is going to happen. You're not going to sell this or you're not going to store this because you're directly consuming it. Okay, then you have spare parts. Spare parts you will sell. You have the basic data, you will purchase, you will store, you will plan, and you will maintain the pricing. Okay, service. Service you are not going to sell if it is a service-based industry. If it is a service-based industry, only then you are going to sell the service. You will have the basic data for this. You will purchase a service. You are not going to store the service. You will have the accounting view. Okay, now you have non-valuated basic data. You will purchase, you will store. You will not have any accounting data because it is non-valuated. There is no value for this material. Non-stock, only basic data and purchasing view and accounting. So this is the views which is going to be mapped for your material types. Each material type is going to have different views. So this is decided by the business and consultant is going to maintain this in the backend. Okay, any questions here?
Yes, sir. In the raw materials, you will be selling it, no, sir. So there is a sales picture coming, right?
Most of the business is not going to sell the raw material. The raw material is purchased to convert that into semi-finished material or the finished material. If if you are going to do a raw material business, if you are just buying raw material and you are just selling in the raw material, in that case you will have the sales view. If it is a manufacturing industry, then you will not have the sales view.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, then let me mention the transaction codes what we use to create the material master. Let me write it down here. So as I mentioned in the previous class in the enterprise structure, so we used one transaction, which is SPRO. Still, we will be using the same transaction to do the configuration or to do the design. We will be still using the SPRO. But as master data is the data what you will be seeing in the front end. So to create the material, you will be using the transaction MM01 to change the material. Once it is created, you also have an option to change the material. To change, you are going to use MM02, and to just display, you will be using the transaction MM03. Okay, and to see the list of materials, what you have created, the transaction is MM60. So you can put this transaction in the transaction bar and click on enter. So that will show the list of materials what are created in this system. So now let me do one thing. Let me go into system and show how the material looks and how are we going to create the material. So this is the front end part. So how to create a material is a front end part that is handled by the end user. And tomorrow we will see the back end part, how to create the material type in the back end, how to set all the information in the back end so that the end user can use that information in the front end. So that is the back end part. Okay, so let me log into system and then share my screen back. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask. Can someone check if you guys can open the remote desktop? I'm not able to open the remote desktop. Yes, I'm not able to open the remote desktop. Mostly it might be in a maintenance or the backup is happening.
Like same thing for this.
Oh, then the backup is happening for the remote desktop and they are backing up the data. So normally what happens every Saturday or Sunday, I guess, it is not going to be this time. It will be some other time, mostly midnight of Friday. They start the backup. So what all information you guys have created, that is going to get backed up in the database. If system get crashes or something happens, so they can use the backup and restore the data into the system. So they do the backup. So if the data is huge, then the backup may take some time. So that is the reason we are still not able to open. Normally it should start working from 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. But I think it is in a maintenance, so we will not be able to open it now. So let me stop the session till here
Sir,
today. Yes.
sir, it is openable.
Okay,
It
let
is
me try.
opening.
No, it is still same for me. Let me try to switch my internet and check if it is an internet issue. 1 second. It should not be an internet issue. Let me try that part also. No, it is same with the other network also. Yeah, it is same with other network also. So let me do one thing. Let me figure out this and let me show how to create a material directly tomorrow. What we will do tomorrow is we will see how are we going to create the material. First, I'll create a material and show what all are the objects we are filling there and from where are the values coming in. And then we will see how are we going to set that in the backend. That is a part what we are going to see in tomorrow's session. One is the front end and one is the back end. So today we have covered the theoretical part. So if I show how to create a material, then I will also cover the front end part. So let me try again to check my remote desktop. Okay, I'm able to log in now. Let me share my screen back. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
So I log into SAP. So here, as I mentioned, this is the transaction bar. So we will be using the transaction MM01 to create. I mentioned we use MM01 transaction to create the material, MM02 to change, and MM03 to display. So I put this transaction MM01, click on enter. So this is a screen what we see to create a material. So here we have an option called material, industry sector, and material type. So here you need to enter the material number. So there are two types of material number. One is internal, one is external. When I say internal number range, system will propose the number itself. You don't want to enter it manually. If I say external number range, then you need to enter the number manually. So we will discuss what is internal number range, what is external number range, how to create those in the backend. That we will see in the backend session. So as of now, I don't put it. I select the industry sector. So each and every business is going to have an industry. It might be an automobile industry, it might be an FMCG industry. So based on the business, you need to select this here. So for example, let me take this as a car industry or automobile industry. Then here you have the material type. So for example, I'll tell FERT is a finished material. So I select this, click on enter. So these are the views. So how these views are coming? The consultant in the backend or SAP in the backend has said that whenever I'm using this material type, I should have this views coming. So if you see for finished material, you don't have the sales view. If I select some ROH, the raw material, I have the sales view. If I select the same FERT again, I don't have the sales view. So this can be controlled in the backend. So consultant is going to control this in the backend, which material type should have which views. Okay. So as we are from MM and purchasing, so let me create just a basic material. So I select the basic data 1 and 2. I'm purchasing this material. I'm going to store this material. And I'm going to have the pricing of this material. Accounting view. Select all these views. Click on the org level below. So now system will ask you plant. In which plant are we going to purchase this material? So normally, if we are going to design the enterprise structure, think that Reliance is my client or company code directly, and I'm going to divide my plants into different industries. One plant is an automobile industry, the other plant is an FMCG industry. In that case, if I'm going to create an example, a food material, I want to just create in the FMCG plant. I don't want to create in another plant. So I mentioned the plant number here. In which store location I'm going to store the material. I'll put SL03, which is it is a finished material. Click on OK. So these are the informations what you have in basic data 1. So in the basic data 1, see here the material number came automatically. So how this material number is coming automatically, we will discuss that tomorrow. Okay. Then you have the description. So I put it as finished material. So I'll put it as bread. Then if you see below, you have base unit of measure. How are you going to measure the unit? So I'll say pieces or each. Old material number. So what is old material number? So old material number is something, but for example, you are not using SAP now. You're just going to start using SAP. And for this bread, you had another number in the previous system. You can enter that number here. So this was my number, for example. Okay. And under what group is this material falling? So I select this. In finished material, you might have a lot of finished materials. So I select some food here. I don't have anything. If you don't have anything here, for example, I want to categorize this material into a food. I don't have food here. Then what we can do is we can create the material group. Create the material group and then use it. So as of now, I'll use this finished food. And if you scroll down, you have the material status. What is the status of material? It is ready to use, or you are going to cancel this material, or it is still under design. So that is the material status. And if I scroll down, you have the gross weight, net weight, dimensions, all those things. So basic information has this information. In the basic data too, you have the documentation. So what is the book? If you have any book for this material, then what is the book part number? And if you have any drawings, you can attach the drawings here. Okay. Then you have the purchasing view, which is very, very important view for us. Here also you are going to have the base unit of measure. Here you have the order unit. You have it in each, but in which unit are you going to purchase the material, that you can maintain here. The purchasing group. As I mentioned in the last session, purchasing group is nothing but a person or a group of person. So which person is authorized to buy the material? I'll maintain that person ID here. For example, I am authorized to buy this material. So I'll maintain my ID here. Okay. And what is the material status for purchase? If you maintain the material status at the basic data, it is applicable for the entire material, for purchase, for sell, everything. If you maintain the material status only at the purchasing view, that status is applicable only for the purchasing, not for the sales. Okay. I fill this information, then I go to plant information, and I'm going to tell in which temperature I'm going to store this material, in which container I'm going to store this material, in which storage bin I'm going to keep this material. So all the storage information will be available here. So what is the maximum storage period? What is the shelf life? When I say shelf life, when it is going to expire? How many days it is going to take to expire? So all those things I'll fill here. Then if I go to plant data 2, here also I have the gross weight, net weight, all those things. And I go to accounting view, which is very, very important view. Here in the accounting view, you're going to tell from which account are we going to pay the vendor, or to which account I'm going to stock the value. So here, if I click on this bubble here, beside the field, you will have this icon. So this is a search icon. If I click on this search icon, I have the values here. So how are these values coming? So that is a part of backend. So whatever you have an option to select. So whenever you're entering it manually, then there is no part of consultant there. If you have any values to enter there, apart from that value, you will not be able to enter any other value. In that case, there is an work done by the consultants. So I'll select this as of now, put the price. Then save. So this is how we create a material. So material is created. Post the material is created, if you want to see this material, or if you want to see the list of materials created by you, then you can go to the transaction MM60, put the material number and execute. So you will be able to see the material which is created by you now. If you want to see all the materials which are created by you, so remove this, put your ID here and execute. This will show all the materials which is created by your ID. So this is how you can view the report. If someone is asking, I want to give a report which all materials are created by you, then you can put your ID and execute. If you want to filter based on the material type, you can put a material type and filter. If you want to filter based on the material group, you can filter. If you want to filter based on your plant, you can put your plant and filter. So we will see this reporting tomorrow with more detailed functionalities. Okay. Any questions in creating a material? Now we created the material. Now I can go to the change mode. If I want to change the material, anything, I put the material number, select the views, which all views you want to see and change. Put the plant and change whatever is you required. Or if you want to just display, then you can go to the transaction MM03 and just display it. Okay. Any questions?
So this is what generally end users do, right, sir?
Yes.
Our part will be in the back end, like as a MM consultant.
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to know the backend part, you also need to know what is going to happen, what is happening in the front end.
Yeah.
So you need to know what is front end and then go to the backend and check what all information you can fix from the backend values.
Okay. Thanks.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, if I am creating any material, it's a standard format for basic data 1, 2, and purchasing, or it's a changeable, sir?
You mean these fields?
No. You select in top portions or basic data 1. Before that, you are selecting that basic data 2 and accounting.
Yeah, that can be controlled by the consultant.
Okay. For real-time scenario, it's controlled by consultant or supplier. Sorry, customer will give detail. This much of field.
Client will give the details.
Okay, sir. Client to give the details. Based on the details, we have to choose it basic data, whether it is need to basic data or to or purchasing, like that, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, and one more question. Before that, purchasing, which field, I don't know. Standard price and one more price. It's you are giving 10, 10.
I'll tell that tomorrow. I'll explain that part tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, old material, you are giving basic data. One old material number means I'll give any other number of, or it's we give on blank.
Yeah, you can leave it blank if you don't have any value.
Only have to select a basic unit measure and which one is, sir? Material group.
Yes, that also you can control, which is mandatory, which is optional. You can control that on the back end.
No. If I'm tomorrow, if I want to show that, right, this slide. So I'm just asking, sir. Tomorrow I can show you now.
No,
You give me.
I don't want you to create this material now. So after tomorrow's class, you need to set up the backend first and then come to front end and create the material.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Any more questions?
the last session I have to send that homework.
Yeah, I have
So,
I have seen it. I have seen it.
yeah, is it correct or something
Yeah,
wrong in it?
as of now, it looks fine.
Okay,
Going
sir.
forward, we can change accordingly.
Okay.
Any more questions? Sorry. Okay. If no questions, we will wrap up here. We will discuss the backend part tomorrow and see how are we going to design the system based on the business requirement. Okay. Thanks.
So
Thank you.
tomorrow session, sir.
Yeah.
Tomorrow session only we will. I mean, we will practice the how to create the material and all. Not now, right?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Fine.
Thank you.
Then we'll
Bye-bye.
wrap up here. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.